Hi, everybody. Welcome to The New Normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. And today is May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you. I've got two of the greatest men in my life joining us today, Satoshi Shawn and the Public Awakening. So we're going to talk about this Fed statement. And we're going to hit on, what was the other thing we're going to hit on? I don't know. It'll be a surprise to you and to me. Apparently, I have to go back through my notes. But we'll be right back after this. You guys give us a like and share this video. Happy Star Wars Day to you both. May the 4th be with you.
Happy Star Wars Day.
And may the 4th be with you as well.
Yes. So it's also, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, it's also Hal Finney's birthday.
Am I wrong for not knowing who that is?
Well,
Yes.
but yeah. But I don't know for sure, so I can't correct you or not.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it again. I'm pretty sure it's Hal Finney's birthday.
All right. Color me
Computer.
silly.
Is it Hal Finney's birthday? Computer. Is it Hal Finney's birthday?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Okay, if I'm right and she's wrong, once again, shame
Since
on
she
her.
doesn't know.
May 4th. Yep. Computer scientist, May 4th.
Computer.
Google
Who is
wins.
the Antichrist?
Oh.
I don't have a response for that.
She didn't say she didn't know.
Computer, is Lisa Davis smarter than you? Yes.
I didn't know that one.
The answer is always, I don't know. I don't know. Right? That's what the answer is. I don't know. Computer. Who is the Antichrist?
I don't have a response for that.
That means she knows, but it's not going to give a response because she used to say someone.
Oh, really?
Some odd person from like Italy or something. It's very weird.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I remember that from a while back.
She used to say I don't response, and hold on, let me. Computer. Where is the Antichrist?
Sorry, I can't find the answer to the question I heard.
Very weird answers, not the usual.
You're not saying that Hal Finney is the Antichrist, though.
No, but she used to give a location in Italy. Like there was like she couldn't say something, so you could ask like where are they? Boy, computer. How old is the Antichrist?
Antichrist is between 12 years and 5 months and 13 years and 4 months old.
Did you fucking hear that? If you outthink the community, so she knows something. The system knows something, and that was just off the cuff. 13 and a half years old. There you go. That was outthinking the computer.
What?
What's her content based from? What's she pulling from? Is she a Google content?
The magical interwebs.
She used to give a name. They fixed that. So people were getting away around it, but I don't think anyone ever asked how old. So now that's knowledge that she has, that the computer has. So the Antichrist is, would you say, 13 and a half years old?
But I'm saying, who is she, the computer? Where's she going?
Pulling from Amazon Web Service.
Amazon, okay.
Huh. Wow. I'm a little speechless.
I mean, I've always been a little terrified of teenagers, so that doesn't really surprise me. But
computer, what nationality is the Antichrist?
I don't know that one.
Okay, see, that used to get something. What else? What else was there? The age thing was good. That was good.
That's very good.
What gender?
Computer. Is the Antichrist a male or a female?
According to fandom, Crimson King is male.
They gave the name.
Computer. Who is the Crimson King?
According to Wikipedia, the Crimson King, known to some as Los or Ramabala, is a fictional character created by Stephen King and the main antagonist of King's 8-volume Dark Tower series, as well as the novels Insomnia and Black House. Described as Gon's crazy side, the Crimson King is the ultimate ruler of the Red, and the archetypal embodiment of evil in Stephen King's fictional multiverse.
That's the Dark Tower stuff, which is kind of weird. But okay.
Wow. Sean swimming deep in the woo-woo pond today.
Yeah, we just jumped in there.
I was just trying to say happy birthday, Hal Finney.
Yeah.
Some people believe he could be the creator of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of ironic that the Fed made this big announcement today. It was the first time we've seen Jay Powell in over 2 years. And
Yeah, that's somebody made that point that it was like the first. Maybe it was on your show yesterday, but it's like the first time that he's been out, from under the rock in a long time.
Out of the basement.
There's something going on. I've been very, very scared because this is the Roe v. Wade thing really threw me.
It's thrown everyone, and now they're all distracted talking about the wrong damn thing.
That's the thing. I did a show like a couple hours after. It's the last thing on my channel. You can go look. It's a short one, but it threw me because how everything is really messed up, and it's like it's been us versus them for a couple of years now, and there's so much anger and life and human beings are angrier and different than they were 5 years ago, but definitely 10 years ago, 20 years ago. The people aren't as polite. They're not as loving. Like the whole mask thing. Like there's people that would fight you. I mean, like grandmas and nice, sweet old ladies and old men, and they'll attack you if you don't wear a mask. And then there's people that attack you if you do wear a mask. And everyone is so us versus them, Republican versus Democrat, liberal versus conservative. Everything is so just angry, and everyone's used to that now. But it didn't used to be that way. The fact that people would not talk to a family member because of someone they voted for, that's psychotic. 10 years ago, literally, that would be like a
and now that the information came out about Pfizer,
but hold on. Don't get distracted. This is my point.
I'm not.
The only thing that I can think of in my decades of growing up that could make people as angry as they are now, that could invoke the emotion, that could make a fight at holidays, was the abortion issue, was Roe versus Wade. This is the only thing my whole life. This is the biggest, most emotional anger, just the sided thing in my whole life. Platforms and whole, the parties ran on this one issue. This is the biggest thing ever in my whole life.
Agreed.
And now, without any word, anything, just boom, it's flipped. That to me, and everyone says it's just smoke and mirrors. This is just a distraction, but this is the biggest smoke. This is the biggest mirror. This is the biggest thing in my entire life growing up. This was the thing that could piss off everybody, that could make people as angry as they are today, but back in the 80s or the 90s. And this was the one thing. And now it just flipped like it's no big deal. This has become a distraction. When this was the biggest thing ever growing up, this scared me. Because whatever really is the main thing, if this is just a distraction, what the hell is the main thing?
Well, the timing of it coming out is significant that the Feds made the announcement today. The other thing is, the whole point of this is that it has nothing to do with women's health.
Right.
The point of it is that it's a constitutional issue that brings the choice back to, or the decision
The states, right.
to the states, right? So this may mean that each state will make it legal to still have abortions.
Well, I think a lot of states will, but then people are saying that, and this is the thing that people don't understand.
That's
You know,
the distraction.
there's always been gay marriage in the United States. Well, not always, but for as long as you and I can say, there's been gay marriage, but it was Connecticut. It was like 2 or 3 states. But if you went there, you could get married. Now they're saying that, oh, now even if it's legal in Oklahoma, if you go from Texas to Oklahoma, when you come back to Texas, they could arrest you, or stuff like that. They're just throwing shit out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh no! Did you hear Biden? He said they're going to say that little children who are LGBTQ, which first of all, anyone that sexualizes a child,
that's the thing.
That should be disturbing to everyone in America, that the tendency is sexualizing children.
I was thinking about that too, because I'm old, and I remember when the whole it's not it's the parents' job, it's not the school's job for sex education. I was in like 8th grade. And 8th grade, I think, was fine. It was too young for some people. Like every time the teacher would be like, oh, the penis, like a third of the class would be like, or the vagina. But I think, the problem was those kids. Those kids were just not mature enough, and that's their fault. That's their problem. I think 8th grade was an okay time. And and what I've noticed is that my whole life, the extremists are always right. When they said you can't have gay marriage because people are going to want to marry children, they're going to want to marry their cars, and they're going to want to marry the dishwashers. And everyone's like, dude, that's just stupid. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's just about love. But you know what? People have wanted to marry their cars. People have wanted to marry their children. Not to say that gay marriage is wrong or that it shouldn't happen or whatever. But whatever the extremists say is going to happen, it always happens. And I think whenever they do pass a law, they really should say it's going to be illegal to marry your car or kids or anything like that. This is what is legal. This is what is normal. This is fine. But this other shit is crazy. Because if not, you just have to deal with the crazy shit later.
Yeah, and that's the way of getting the foot in the door, right? I mean,
and that's the whole argument against of whatever you're trying to pass. That's the argument against it. This is just a foot in the door. And then everyone's like, no. This is the full thing. Total transparency. This is the door wide open. We're coming through. This is all we want. We just want to come in the room. And the extremists are always right. They're always right. I mean, it's not huge, but
I think that's the distraction. I guess that's the point I was trying to get across yesterday.
AI, and everything. You could literally be in love with your car. Or the if your AI is allowed to develop any kind of personality, that's an argument. Then you now have an argument for marrying your car. That's just fact.
Which I really don't have a problem with someone marrying their car.
I do.
I don't.
Then if you hit the car, is it attempted murder?
Ooh.
No. That doesn't make
Why?
car. That doesn't make the car human.
If corporations can be people to remember, corporations are people too, my friend. So if corporations can be people, why can't a car be a people?
You just killed the guy's wife. You
no,
told his car.
It doesn't make it. No, it doesn't make it a wife. It makes marrying a car. It doesn't change a car into a person.
Do you take this car to be your wife?
So then you're saying gay marriage makes one of them a girl?
It makes one of them a spouse. They're both their spouses.
They're still two men, or they're still two women. It doesn't make them. It doesn't magically turn them into.
It turns them into a spouse.
So if a gay guy marries his car, it would be a man. It would still be murder, according to Sean.
Yeah, it's still murder. That doesn't matter if you kill a guy or a girl. It's still murder. You killed their spouse.
You're thinking too rationally, Lisa. You're thinking too rationally. Nobody would have ever thought a few years ago with we just want to have gay rights, gay marriage. When nobody would have ever thought it would have transformed into 100 different genders and drag queens in the local library teaching 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
This I think that's a great example,
But
Sean,
once
of
again,
where this stuff
that's
can
not
go.
even what Roe versus Wade and all that is about. This is where they're getting people into the minutia of, and that
I think things are going to be different this time. I saw this video. It's rough, but it's a guy doctor explaining abortion. I think
that is not what Roe versus Wade is about. That is
what's his name posted. What's his name posted it? The
complete distraction.
The young guy who talks like this, talks really fast. Anyway,
oh yeah. The guy with the Yamulki on his head.
Yeah.
Yamulki.
Shapiro. Yeah. And it's this guy talking about, it's like you can't pull this, through the cervix. So it shows it's not gory, but it's very educational.
Do it in like a medical.
He shows the forceps go up there and they rip the arm off, rip the leg off, and they shows it. And he's like, the head is too big to come through the canal. So they got to go up here and they crush it. And then they can, it's like, see, this stuff wasn't out there before.
The actual act of abortion.
Yeah, but it's like animated.
That's vicious stuff. That's like worse than
it's not gory. It's not, but it's like.
Well, that word was used in the, not abortion, but the other word that I don't think you're allowed to say on here, but that word starts with infant and ends inside, was in the Maxwell trial documents.
But nobody heard that, but everybody knows about Johnny Depp. What's going on?
Right. We can all watch Johnny Depp all day, but we couldn't watch the Maxwell trial and hear that word.
I don't know what you're saying.
You don't know what I'm saying?
Divorce?
No, I said infant. And then I waited to say the second part of the word, which ends in side.
Inside what?
Side. Like homicide.
Like pesticide, but with an infant in front.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that word was used in the Maxwell trial when they were interviewing, who was the girl that the one that did the settlement with Prince what's his face?
Prince what's his face?
Andrew or whatever.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. I can't remember her name right now.
But they were talking about how that was part of their ritual stuff, is she would be forced to
do that.
Yeah. To sacrifice one or something?
Yeah.
Well, at some point they do like partial births and all this. Anyway, you guys can look it up for yourself.
That's pretty weird and gross. But what was my point? I don't know. Forgot my point. But it's freaked me out that this was like the most major thing my entire life growing up. The biggest hot button issue for decades, like since I was born. And now it reminded me when I saw that video. It's not that funny. It's funny. I was a little kid. I must have been like, I was like 5, maybe 6. And my mom ran she ran a thing in Atlantic City for unwed teenage mothers. That's what they were called back then. They were unwed teenage mothers. And I had these pamphlets about abortion that showed like some, gross stuff. And I was over at my babysitter's and I did something wrong. She was like yelling at me. And she's like, "Oh, you made a mess, Jumbo." It's like, "No, what are you doing?" I was like, "Me and Tommy are just looking at some pamphlets on abortion." And she was like, "Oh, great. You're looking at pamphlets about abortion." I was like, "Yeah. How else are we going to learn about it?" It's just funny to think back. I had a very weird childhood.
Well, the irony is the people fighting for that so strongly now are the ones that are saying, you need to wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
I need to tell you what to do with your body.
That's part of the unraveling.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because before Like even months ago when people were like, you know, because we would say, hey, man, it's my choice if I want to do this. My choice if I want to get a vaccine. It's my choice if I want to rest. It's like, no, it's not. No, you got to do it. The government says. I'm like,
because it's science,
I was
medicine.
like, hey, man, aren't you the one that said my body, my choice?
Mm-hmm.
And then their head just would explode. But and I've always, I mean, it's like, hey, I have the choice. You have the choice to have sex. Once you have sex, that's your choice. Now you have consequences. It's not a choice, it's a consequence. And you have to deal with the consequence. But I think things are going to be different this time. And you make the right point. It's not about women's health. It had never had anything to do with that. And it didn't really have to do with abortion. It was about states' rights.
Right. That's why Alito wrote that big.
Yeah.
That's what they're all pissed about. That's what they really didn't want people to see.
Well, this is the scariest thing for me, because the judicial is a branch of government, but it's the last, and I talked about this in the show I did, it's the last part of government that works.
Or that used to work.
And they froze up Sean.
Sean,
At least they gave him a good frozen face. That's true, though. I mean, they've literally switched. That's how fast these narratives, these whole overriding things can shift. They need to get off of that subject of the pokey stuff, and this is the next thing now. Now they're going to buy some time with this. This might be just a distraction from the, what was it, just the other day, one of the biggest crashes in the S&P. Maybe it's just some kind of distraction. Maybe this is a whole narrative shift into the next biggest thing. That we spent the last how many years going from one big thing to the next big thing to the next big thing. You know, before this, it was the thing in New York and DC. Before that, it was getting crazy with gun rights. Before that, it was obviously abortion. Like he said, had to be certainly one of the biggest ones. And he was right. I mean, that was the thing that got people crazy nasty. I think the next biggest thing that got people so divided, even within families, would have been gun rights and things like that. It's always, you know, the wrong side always seems to be demonized for the regular, normal thinking average American, and
the human thought.
Yeah.
You know, Uncle Cliff Stato was saying that once this stuff starts hitting, and I don't know if it was now, or I kind of think it was more focused on the middle of the month, and then it's starting. Once it starts, it doesn't stop.
It was starting in April originally, and then it was once it gets into May, then it's really going to blow up. Yeah, you're right. Somewhere around the middle of this month or so.
So we're just going to keep seeing these kind of events. There's another guy that's a Vedic astrologer and kind of psychic guy, since we're on Woo Woo Wednesday, that I follow, and he was saying that some things are happening, and that the bad guys are kind of, you know, fighting back, and the gold deliveries have happened, but something needs to happen to it first. I don't know. I'll send you the link, and I'll post it in my Patreon.
Yeah, cool.
But it was really interesting to hear, because a lot of us had thought that, you know, cryptos would be up by now, or some more things would have happened, and it does seem like things are kind of delayed. So that was really interesting. We also know that when you go back to the dates of things happening right now, that they need us to be so distracted by these news narratives and all this. I hinted around yesterday, or talked a little bit about, so we have the Fed announcement was today, and
what was it, 50 basis points, 0.5%?
Yeah. Which, like we said, it was the first time Jay Powell's been out in public for 2 years or whatever. Here we go.
Nice to see everyone in person for the first time in a couple of years. Before I go into the details of today's meeting, I'd like to take this opportunity to speak directly to the American people. Inflation is much too high. and we understand the hardship it is causing, and we're moving expeditiously to bring it back down. We have both the tools we need and the resolve that it will take to restore price stability on behalf of American families and businesses. The economy and the country have been through a lot over the past 2 years and have proved resilient. It is essential that we bring inflation down if we are to have a sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all.
So there's a full statement here. I'll put it in the live chat and post it in the description if you want to go listen to all that nonsense. I wish Sean was back on here. I'm curious what your thoughts are. I'm hearing a lot of people are anticipating that with this, there will be like a little mini up in the market because they're kind of faking like they're doing what they said they would to try to reduce inflation. So there'll be a little up in the markets, but then it's all just going to, it's not going to be sustainable. It's going to crash down. We're going to hit that recession. And so some people are saying to have some dry powder to scoop up some cheap Bitcoin and things like that. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
There comes a point when you run out of dry powder. There just comes a point where you run out of dry powder.
I'm with you.
I've been trying to save some dry powder for 5 years now. It's, you know,
I'm with you.
It's converting one asset into another asset at this point. Hopefully you have something that's up and you can trade it for something that's down. It's, you know, this is, if what Uncle Cliff was saying, if his timelines are accurate, as he's been pretty accurate lately, this year he's been pretty on fire. We're looking for a crazy month, and it certainly looks like it's getting started. I mean, if you think back a couple of years ago, you didn't really hear these type of things happening, or it was more behind the scenes things happening. But now all these big things are coming out. I mean, like you were saying with this Roe versus Wade, it's I think Sean's got it right. It's one distraction on to the next. But this is nothing different than it's been since I remember being a wee little lad in New Jersey here. There's always just one distraction going, and as soon as this one tires out, usually the narratives changes have seemed to be in control in the past. Now it's not the narrative kind of leading. It seems almost that the narrative is trying to catch up to reality. Like they're trying to, the pandemic is basically, some people are scared of it still, but
my doctor's not. I went today.
Not as many.
She, the information came out today, or not today maybe, but I saw it today publicly, that the Pfizer poke is very effective for the first, I think they said 47 days or something like that. No. 47% effective. I need to go back and read my tweet. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
This truth has been coming out for some time. We knew in the beginning of 2020, we were talking about it in March, and we were saying this is, the information's there for those who with eyes to see.
Yeah. Well, the studies are now coming out because it's been enough time. So the Pfizer one literally said it was only effective for the first 47% for the first so many days. And then after that, it was only 1% effective after that. There's something insane like that. I'll have to go find the tweet. But,
and a free stroke included.
Yeah, and all that stuff. So that stuff was crazy. My doctor, I was telling her, and she's sitting there telling me, and all it did was make Gates and Fauci a bunch of money. And I was like, well, there we go.
Good.
Pfizer and everyone. It's trillions of dollars, man.
Yeah.
And now what's I think the biggest criminal thing is that so many nuts, and doctors who are discredited were right.
Mm-hmm.
And they really should be vindicated. Or like, what's his name? The AR-15 kid. He's going after everybody.
Kyle.
They should Rittenhouse. They should do the same thing. Those doctors should go and force apologies and get millions and millions and millions of dollars. They should make these people pay. It's
Yes.
and that's how the system is supposed to be anyway. That's how it's set up. But before I got knocked off, what I was talking about is how the Supreme Court, it's an arm of the government. In our founding fathers were way smarter than we are as humans. They may have been aliens, I don't know, but they were way smarter for their time. They were way smarter than us. They not only set up the United States in like one of the most perfect ways, but they gave us warnings. They said, hey, if you have a party system, that could break it. If they say, if you do this, that could break it. If you do this, that could break it. And everything, we haven't listened. We've made party systems, which has completely ruined everything. We haven't listened to them. And when it comes to the court, it's the last true part of our government that works, that is pure, because it's just the law. Like, people are indoctrinated, people hear shit. And Lisa just was like, I support the police. And I was like, I don't support the police. I was like, that's a cult. I was like, you can't support, it's like believe all women. I said, I support law enforcement, because fake news is not fake news. It's a lie. It was called a lie before. And when you call it fake news, it makes it like it's something else, but it's just a lie.
Right.
If you take someone out and buy them dinner and then rape them, it's rape. But no, that's a date rape. No, it's just a rape.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not a date rape. And if people add these words in, like, it changes things. And the Supreme Court, I don't know if anyone's watched this documentary on HBO. It's about Muhammad Ali, which growing up, he was like my favorite boxer, him, Sugar Ray Leonard, when I was a little kid. And I didn't know, I was a child, so I didn't know about the political shit. And I watched this documentary, which was a lot of behind the scenes stuff with the Supreme Court when they were, ruling against him. And to see these people who were terrible human beings. I mean, there was massive racists that hated the guy because he was black. They were just terrible people. But their love for the law and for the republic was stronger than their hatred for other people. So they ruled in his favor, which that used to be how people were. And I think that over the past few years, they've changed people to not be so. And I'll be a little bit biased and say that I think that Americans had more integrity. It was like, hey, you're going to do what's right versus what's easier. And that's why, and Trump said this, and everyone got offended, but Americans aren't refugees. If there's a problem, we don't go to somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And
we don't have anywhere to go, really. I mean,
well, people started it with, hey, if Trump wins, we're going to Canada. And that was kind of the beginning. And that was the most un-American shit ever. Because, hey,
Rosie O'Donnell.
If Trump wins, I'm going to do everything I can to get him out. I'm going to fight. That's American. Not, I'm going to leave. I'm going to run. I'm going to be a refugee. That's not what we have ever done. We're the place that everyone ran to.
Right.
And then we I guess, like you said, we learned, hey, this is it. This is our last stop. We fight or we die. And that's how Americans used to look at things. But my point is that the Supreme Court is not political. Schumer went up. It's like a little thing. Breitbart posted it. But he went before the Congress and he goes, this is a travesty. We're going to fight this all the way. And I was like, fight it to where? The Supreme Court?
Yeah.
It's like, that's it, dude. They're the ones that, once it's there, there's no debate, there's no argument. you can try to, bring it before him again. But it's a process, man. And there's what they've tried to do in leaking this, which, like Lisa said, has never been done before, is they're trying to politically bully them into making a decision. And then they're going to try and say, hey, and my kids is the one that made me think about this. He said that it's a crazy conservative stacked court. And
that was Biden's statement that this MAGA movement is the most polarizing, crazy. Somebody said he had his deplorable statement today or something like that.
And remember when Trump it was Amy Barrett, put her in, and then she did not rule like he wanted her to, and everyone was pissed.
Yeah,
dude, this is the last thing that works. This is the last place where if Trump says that you have to rule a certain way and you don't, good. This is the last place for purity, is what the Supreme Court is, and throughout history, they've usually always come through to where even if it's something that they personally hate, but it's the law, they're going to side with the law. They're going to side with the Constitution. And that's one of the things about Roe v. Wade that people said. But I think that they're trying to push this politicization and scare them into voting a certain way when, like we all said, this Roe v. Wade is unconstitutional. It doesn't have anything to do with abortion. It doesn't have anything to do. It's about states deciding what they can do. And that's what's scary to me.
Decide that it's fine.
But if they can infiltrate, if they can break this, they can break the Supreme Court. There's no hope. It's completely over. Because
so you think it's more about breaking the Supreme Court than even polarizing people and distracting them from?
I think it's polarizing people to try to influence the Supreme Court.
Interesting.
If you can break that, that's the last branch, man.
Yeah.
Congress, you can look at if you take 100 people, you put them in a room, there's going to be at least 20 different opinions. There'll be people that hate this, that love this. There'll be people that hate chocolate, that hate coffee, that love coffee. There's so many different opinions. But when you look at how Congress votes, it's literally 95% party. It doesn't matter who's running. It doesn't matter who their spouse is. It doesn't matter what they've done. You're just voting for a Republican or a Democrat unless you try to get in a different party. They all vote the same way. So it's broken. That's the definition of broken. I can respect someone that votes for a bill that it would destroy the environment, that would hurt the world, that would screw things up, but it would help their district. If it's for like the worst coal that destroys the environment and it pollutes the air and can kill people if you touch it. But if it would bring jobs to their district and they vote for it, like, hey man, I can respect that. It's a terrible thing that you've done, but you did right by your people. But it's not like that at all. Everyone votes a certain way along with the party. That just shows how broken the system is.
Absolutely. That is a great point.
I agree.
Here it is.
It's thought to be a bad decision by working on, my guess is, the guys on the Supreme Court now. What happens if you have a state changes the law saying that children who are LGBTQ can't be in classrooms with other children?
You mean like they grow up in a racial
the decision's written? What are the next things that are going to be attacked? Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history. Oh, that guy. So
there you have it. He's blaming the Supreme Court.
What if somebody voted, against civil rights because they didn't want their kids and their grandkids to grow up in a racial jungle? What if that happened? Oh, that did happen. Who was that? That was Joe Biden. He said that, and he voted for that, and those were his words. It's all just BS, man. It's completely, it's fake, and I don't understand how people can. Dude, you have people essentially that are standing up there saying everything's broken and government's been breaking it, and I've been here for 40 years, so elect me again, and I'm gonna fix it this time. You laugh, it's funny, but yeah,
it's true. It's true. That's one of the things one of the comments I heard something like that years ago, and I'm like, holy crap, you're right. It's like these are the same people who've been causing all the problem and not fixing anything, but we're just going to give them one more chance.
Any person that runs should just say everything's messed up, and they've been there for 20 years. You know, it's like taking your car into the same mechanic and it never gets fixed. You know, and then you have somebody, you know, another shop, and they're like, hey, bring it over here, I'll fix it. Are you sure? Like, well, tell me how you're going to fix it. And it's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to fix it. I have, you know, all new parts. The other guy's like, hey, man, I know your car. I've been working on it. I haven't fixed it, but I know it. So I'll fix it this time. And you
I have the most experience with your car.
Yeah. Do you want someone that's not experienced with your car? Or do you want someone to fix your car? You know, I want someone with a little experience. Someone that's touched my car one time and they don't need to touch it again. But that's just common sense, and people don't have that anymore.
That just kind of goes back to it is what it is and the way it is. This is the way it is. I don't know. This is just the way it is. People just get very accommodating to that whole thought process, and then keep us so busy with senior citizens, you know, taking a big hit, losing your job, possibly not having enough finances. Add all these other things in, and then that just gets pushed off to the side. You accept it because you're over here focusing on these more prescient things, and then everything behind you is just getting swiped out from under you.
Well, think about if you go vote for somebody and you see all your friends voting for somebody, you feel very disempowered when, you know, there's a different outcome. So
sure. Yeah, and I didn't used to, you know, think that the whole voting thing is just a scam to make you think you have a voice, but I'm so disenfranchised now. I really am. I just think it's all what if it's all fake? What if the aristocracy still runs shit? You know, if you look at Britain and you really look at it, I remember it was a couple of years ago, right before or when Brexit was going on, and what was it? And the prime minister did something. Oh, he like made Parliament, like closed it until the Queen gave us her speech, and everyone was angry. And someone said, "This goes against our Constitution." And then the reporter's like, "Yes, that goes against our unwritten Constitution." And I laughed. I'm like, "Unwritten Constitution? That's funny." But then other people said it, and then like their PM said it or MPs said it. And I was like, are they serious? And then I asked some English, oh, yeah, we have an unwritten Constitution. I was like, you do know it's not a Constitution unless it's written. That's what it means. So, and then everyone says, oh, the Queen has no power. But if the Prime Minister wants to do something, he has to go to her and ask for permission. So I think everyone's just fooled. You know, there's still, I grew up,
but before that, the Queen and King had to go to the church, or the church told the King and Queen what to do.
The church was another big power. But when I grew up, there was a prince in Germany that's still alive. They own like companies. They own a bunch of wineries, and he used to talk about the aristocracy and how they've switched to being to running the world, to more philanthropic and social stuff. I think that they've instituted democracies and governments to just do their bidding, and they're still running shit.
Yeah.
You know, I think
completely agree. Yep. I completely agree with that.
So Sean, I was looking back at our chat when I sent the links to all three of us for today, and it was like at Christmas, we were all telling each other Merry Christmas. And you said, I wonder if World War III will be normal people versus the power elite.
Yeah. I think it is. I think I think if people realize, if we do have a real awakening, a real TPA, and people can see, and maybe, like I said, maybe it's actually a real revolution. Maybe we never really got the country away from the British Empire, the monarchy, and if it's all about the 5 corporations that own everything, everything, they literally own all companies. Do you know that Pepsi is the 2nd biggest food producer in the world? Nestle is the top food producer.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, are those companies the ones that are being hit by all these planes and fires?
Yeah.
And
there's some of them, and like we were talking about, I think it's part of a, and it frustrates me because we always say, hey, look how stupid they are, and then it's like 3 years later it all comes together and we're like, oh fuck, that was brilliant. They did it. And it really makes me angry and frustrates me when I say that, because it's always looks like, oh, they're so overconfident, oh, they're so dumb, oh, the Fed is dumb, oh, the monetary system is dumb, oh, it's about to fall. And then what did they do? Oh my God. Well, they got it going for a couple more years. And we don't see it because they don't think like normal people. They think, oh, let me get this set up. I'll be dead when this plan comes to fruition. But, my grandson will be able to take it, pick it up from here. They're different. That's one of the reasons why I think they're lizard people, because they don't think like we do.
Well, they taught us to think in 4-year cycles because we can vote for our next god in 4 years. They think generationally. They think long timelines, and they don't mind taking 50 or 80 or 60 years to accomplish something that we're on the mindset of trying to accomplish in that 4-year span.
They don't mind losing millions to make billions, or losing billions to make trillions.
Yep.
Or, it's so, but like we're all talking about smoke and mirrors, if you just, when we look back at history, everything is so clear. Like, look what happened. And I've tried to look at today, like through the eyes of history, and that's helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
Like, how would this look years from now? If we look back, and it's just really looking with common sense, the president said we're going to have food shortage and this and this and this. And then literally the next week, these things start to happen. And you made the point, Jason, that 20 of these are just in the United States alone. And they're huge fires. And the fact that 2 planes crashed into 2 different plants at different parts of the country within a week, that statistically doesn't happen. So it's obvious that this is orchestrated. But there's 22,000 plants. So this is a drop in the bucket. But most people aren't going to research that. Most people go on the news, and you can see Tucker Carlson talking about it. It's like, oh my God, this is terrible. 20 plants, all this
food's going to run out tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah. So
they're managing perceptions. They're managing the perceptions.
Exactly. So if they
short.
One of the, just common sense once again, one of the biggest signs of a shortage is quick rising prices. Prices are doubling or tripling on a lot of things. Eggs, where I live, are 3 times as much in a week. Other sodas and other things, they're going up 100%, 50%. That's the first sign of a shortage.
Gasoline first, right? One of the first ones. Your electric bill, your food bill. For an example, my mom in the chats here, she sends me pictures sometimes when she does her food shopping. She's down in the DC area, and she sent me a 1 pound box of butter, just regular butter, organic butter. It was like $9. I was like, that's crazy. I'm like, no, I'll go buy a truckload of butter and bring it down there. We'll buy a yacht somewhere with this. And then just yesterday, I was in my supermarket, and my kids like Triscuits, these little crackers, these Triscuits crackers. You used to get the large family size box for $3, $3.79, $3.89. Now it's 2 for $9. $2 for $9 for the same thing. Gallons of water. If you can find gallons of water in any of the grocery stores around here, you're lucky, number one. And number two, they are probably 60% higher than they used to be. They used to be 79 to 99 cents.
If you
now
can
they're
find them,
$1.50. If you can find
if you can find them. So what you're saying is, you used to be able to go in and have your pick, but now if you can find him, you're happy.
If you can find it, you're happy by paying almost double. You're happy.
Right. Would you say then, so you have to buy less, but you're happy to find them. So would you be correct in saying you're happy with less?
Yeah.
Does it
And
look
at
like
some
you're
point
being
we'll have nothing
engineered?
and we'll be happy with it.
Does
Just keeps going.
it look like you're being engineered to be happy with less?
Good point, sir.
I can't afford butter, but I can get synthetic butter for $4 instead of $9. I'm okay with that. I'm happy with less.
Oh, I'm just glad I got something. Yeah.
Your choices are being taken away.
Yeah.
And I think they're engineering shortages. I think they're setting because they're not going to be short. The government's not going to be short. They're gonna make sure that everything is but I think that the excuses are being set up. Sure. And the propaganda is being set up. So when your grocery stores are short, this is why. Remember those 20 plants that burned down? Oh, if they were only around, too bad the other 19,980 are still around, but those 20. So
well, I know for a fact that the car dealerships are purposefully holding back cars so that they can then charge you $10,000 over sticker. They've had some of their best years ever.
So people are buying cheaper shit cars, and that's another thing. I've been looking for
getting less upgrades on them because
I
they
wanted
can
to
get it
buy
quicker.
in my area just some land to go shooting at. Right, I don't want to have to pay to go to the range. I don't want to go to my friend's land, which I always do. It's just like down the street, but I feel like a dick because I'm not like, hey man, let's barbecue. Hey, let's hang out. It's like, hey man, can I go? Shoot with me and the kids. I want to go shoot. I feel like I'm using them. So I just wanted to get a couple acres, and it's over $100,000. There's land around me, around Fort Hood, $9 million, millions of dollars just for scrub land. And I said this years ago that, what's going to happen is that normal people are going to be priced out of the market. You're just not going to be able to afford it. But now it's happening, and to see it happening is even though I knew it was coming, it still freaks me out.
And we're thankful. And we're thankful at the same time. It's like they mind effed you at the same time.
4 acres for $90,000. Well, that's about a 20-minute drive, but it's not terrible. I mean, come on, man. It was like $1,500 an acre here before. Now I'm happy with $25,000 an acre.
That's crazy.
But all throughout California, all throughout the United States and the world, BlackRock and these other companies are buying up all this real estate, and they're paying way over market price. They're driving the price up.
Right.
And those are the people that got the billions and trillions and bajillions of dollars from Trump stimulus, from all the other money printings. They got this war chest, and now they're using it to price normal people out. I talked about this on the World Blockchain Roundtable last week. I was talking about the freaking eggs. Eggs piss me off so much because I throw away or give the dog half of the eggs. I make omelets or just eat a lot of egg whites because there's only 15 calories. All the calories and cholesterol and everything's in the yolk. So I've been going through a lot of eggs. And eggs went from like $1 a dozen to $4 a dozen in 10 days. So I was talking to the boys, and I retired.
You'd be so pissed if you come here, Sean. The average acre of land around where I live here, if you want to buy something, there is no farmland available by me. There's no woods land available by me. You're looking at $250,000 for an average acre around here. You're looking at
last time I was there,
$6 eggs are the normal, bro.
I was in Summers Point, right, down by Ocean City, and my wife at the time was like, I really do like this. This is nice. It'd be nice to get a house here. And I was like, yeah, look at this quarter acre for $90,000. It's just, it was like insane.
It made sense why Public didn't share his eggs when I brought Nana's eggs up. And And
You saw where I ran, right?
no, I gave Public his organic eggs from Nana, and he was like, "Quick, kids, get them in the car." Everybody else is like sharing their eggs.
I threw a jacket over him so nobody could see, and I scurried off down the corner to stuff him in the
I
car.
told the boys last week, I was like, I'm doing really good with crypto, retired, and but we're not going to be wealthy. I was like, a couple of years from now, we'll be in this freaking house. We'll be doing the same that we're doing now. I'm like, the rest of the country is going to be like grapes of wrath. They'll be eating dog. They'll be living in tents. Okay, but we're never going to be like things aren't going to be great because it happened at this time.
And Cliff talked about that. He's like, you don't want to live in a $600 silver world.
Yeah,
it is. Because and I was talking to he has a really great channel, Johnny Bravo. He really talks like stocks and that kind of stuff. But I was like, dude, it's coming. He's like, yeah, it's coming. And he's a high school economics teacher, but he has this channel that he's been building. Now I think he has like 150,000 or something million subscribers. But smart guy, and he was like, I wasn't ready for it, and I've been working at getting. I was like, me too. I was like, I wanted to have an island, a small island, South America, as somewhere to go to. I'm not ready at all, and we're not. None of us. I don't think any of us are ready, but it's coming so fast, so fast. Everything we've been talking about and preaching that it's coming. It's really here. And when the thing with the Supreme Court, that's what scared me. That's like, it's here. It's really is here. Whatever is they're planning, this is it. This is the Roe v. Wade was the biggest thing, like I said, my entire life. And now it's being thrown out there as a sacrificial lamb. It's being thrown out there as smoke and mirrors when it was the biggest issue for decades, the biggest thing of my entire life. It's now a distraction. So whatever it's distracting, to make something that big to distract us from whatever it is horrifying.
It's true. That's a good point. It's one thing after another lately. So would you say, both of you, in your opinion, do you see more people waking up through all this more recent stuff happening, or do you see more people digging in? I'm seeing a split. I would like to say in my area, you have more people waking up, even in this blue state, and even in this bluey blue state. But there are those that are certainly, the side is entrenching deeper in their beliefs, each side. But there seems to be shifting more people waking up. I was in the store the other day. Guy was looking at a price of I don't know, crackers or something. He says, "Yeah, well, this is because of Putin, right?" Mm-hmm. and then he was joking, and I was like, "Yeah, man, you got it right." And a couple other people were looking in, going, "Yeah, I bet, right?" Like nobody, everybody was in on the joke, sort of. Where a year ago, 2 years ago, no way. If you cracked a joke like that in Jersey, you'd probably be mauled.
I got a hypothetical for you.
Sure.
Think about this, and this is horrifying, but they know, air quotes, what's coming. We all know how important Ukraine is to food production and everything. What if it's going to be gone? What if there is going to be something nuclear and Ukraine's taken off the table? What does that do for food production years from now? We're talking about the long term, the way they think.
Yeah.
What if the short-term food shortages here are because something's going to happen in a year or in 6 months or 8 months? And then they are taken care of because they've been stockpiling for months while we've had this shortage. For when the real shortage comes, when the real...
Well, that's why they say that's why China has been buying so much land in the U.S. and that, Uncle Cliff was talking about so this didn't really work like they thought because of warp speed and all that. didn't have the total fallout that they wanted. And so, and what they're going to do is basically starve people to death.
And me and Lisa have talked about this. Jason, I think we've done all we can do. The people that are going to wake up, that we can wake up, they're done. We're done. I don't think we can wake any more people up. I think people that are going to listen, it's over. But then is the next stage where we planted the seeds, and then it takes like when the Fed just
Something personal in their own life.
gave it out, and then people were messaging me like, "Hey man, they just printed up all this money, and why do I have to pay taxes then? What were you talking about? Because you were trying to explain this to me, and I didn't get it, but now I kind of see." And then when Canada did the stuff they did with the, using the banks, then everyone was like, "Oh my God, now I can see why Bitcoin is important. Now I can see what you're talking about." So I think that we're having now, when you talk about people waking up, it's people that have had the seeds planted, but it takes something in their own life, or it takes them to actually see something happen towards like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah,
I totally agree. Charlie went to a wedding. Well, I was gone last weekend, and he said, and it was with the group that he got fired from. It was a buddy from one of the car dealerships. And he said he kept walking around, and like people would follow him, or there'd be the next person going, "Oh my God, you were right. Oh my God, you were right about this, or you were right about that." Or, he'd had one or two people that he'd sat down somewhere and people just come sit at a table, talk to him. And this
I've been having a couple more of those as well lately.
And it used to be, "Oh God, Charlie," or we were back when we were trying to scream at them about crypto.
Can't you just give it a rest for a day, dude? Russia's not coming for us. China's not coming for us. There's no lizard people. I was like, look, I never said there were lizard people. I'm just saying, and then it's like the dollar's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's, and then when you finally, because there's some people you can explain, there's no such thing as inflation, dude. It's not like the land around here all of a sudden got really, really good for agriculture, or anything changed. There's still just as many chickens. There's still just as many, almost just as many plants. There's still just as many.
Well, but that terrible bird flu.
So now that's why is it 300%? What justifies eggs going up 300%? You would need 2/3 of all of the chickens to die, or something. There's been nothing. Like let's say Florida falls into the ocean, or just has a bad freeze. Oranges are up 25%. Okay. But nothing has happened to justify these prices shooting up. Then when you explain to people, if you have an ounce of gold and you buy this, and then if you have paper dollars and you buy this, and then 10 years later, if you have gold, you can pretty much still get this. But you need 3 times as much paper money. The price of this didn't change. The value of this changed, because you still need 1 ounce of gold to buy this. But now you need 3 stacks of the paper dollars. Right. So it's like, well, gold went up and the price of this was like, no, dude, why are you have these blinders on? Why can't you see?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's tough to shake off a lifetime of conditioning like that. Though,
everything in this equation is the same,
yep,
except this paper money. That's the only thing that changed. Why do you not see it? And then they slowly, they'll get it. Whenever, like Lisa said, whenever there's something personal, or they see something that scares them, like the shit in Canada. That's why I said it's so great that it had one in Canada, because that's it. If it happened in Canada, there's no way you can say it can't happen here. There's no way any country can say it can't happen here. Well, not in Germany. Well, not in France. Well, not in Switzerland. No, dude, it's Canada. If the Canadian government will do it, any government will do it.
Yep. They're having a tough time. I read an article the other day that said the average house price in Canada is something insane, like over $600,000, $700,000. for the average home. I mean, that's even crazy for here. That's insane for around here. Like,
yeah,
it's, and people are still, just digging in. You get those that are digging in, and we're getting those that are waking up and saying, hey, something don't smell right. What can I do about this? How can I better myself?
You had nobles and you had peasants, and that's where we're headed, man. It's been a joke, the millennials have been talking about, we won't be able to ever buy a house, and it's like, yeah, whatever, you whiny kids. But it's coming, man.
It's true.
Where the only people who could buy a house are the people who don't need money.
Right.
They're literally lords. They're lords of the land.
Yeah, Elon doesn't own a house.
Who?
Elon.
He just got something going with those tiny houses he was building. He's got a new system with a new house. I think it's $15,000 or $20,000 or something like that for one of these mini houses that he's living in. But Sean, that's a good point.
He doesn't have a house that he just Airbnbs and lives at friends' houses.
Right. So I lived through the great East Coast housing boom of the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I was had just gotten married. We were looking for our first house, and the prices went up so insane. I think it was within a year and a half. We watched first of all, we spent years planning a budget out. House prices were pretty steady for a long time in this area. The average price for a decent home, starter home, nicer home, was maybe $180,000 or so. By the time I got done looking and finally just bought whatever I can afford, I wound up spending $320,000 that needed $50,000 immediately when I bought in, and was about a third of the size of the original houses that we were looking at, just over this 1.5 year time span. I
remember my friend had the most expensive house here in my town, but besides that, this boat builder Dolph Moten, he built this house that was $250,000. It was the most expensive house, besides a couple that are tucked away. And it was like a show house. Like, this is what a $250,000 house looks like, and it was insane. And now, in the same area, the same street, like an average nice house around here is like 200 and change for just a decent, nice new house.
Right.
And it's not like, it's like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That was the most expensive it was like a social experiment.
Yeah.
But now with the Fed raising these rates, that's part of that inflation thing. That's what's going to happen, is the interest rates are going to go up. I mean, I heard driving home that mortgage rates are already at like 5% or something. Yeah. It's going to drastically go up. And what's going to happen is the housing prices have to come down.
Well, you can't.
But do they? Can they just keep going up?
They can. And that's because they're
because you're looking at what's happened previously, I think, Laura.
Yeah, the war chest. We just printed up trillions of dollars and gave it to these people a couple years ago or months ago.
But they're sending it back to us by leasing our javelins.
No. I'm talking about BlackRock. I'm talking about these corporations who are
bailouts.
They're what's the word I'm looking for? Fake. They're inflating the housing market. They're like, oh, the house is for sale for $100,000. All right, I'll give you a $180. They are driving the prices up
with free
keeping
money.
It. Why can't I think of the word? Artificially. They're artificially inflating it. But you know what happens if they run out of money? They can just print more and give them more, which will have the worst effect. It'll lower the value, which will increase the price of the damn houses because you'll need more money to buy them. So the prices can go up.
Interesting.
It's hard to get ahead of it. A lot of people would say, hey man, my house has gone up in value so much. The kids are gone. Why don't we sell it? And then we'll get a smaller place with some land. And then we could have some, income. We'll get a couple, cows, and we could sell, It's not like that, because by the time you sold your house, when you go to look at, land that would have cost you $40,000, it's $300,000. So the profits from your house are going to cause you to go in debt. It's hard to get ahead. Like you said, you don't have time to look, to research, to catch the deal, because everything is going up. It's like you got to jump on something, even if it's crap, because it's just going to go up, in a month or two.
Wow.
I agree. I definitely agree. That's a great way of looking at it. It's this, in that respect, this time is different. This time is different. This time is different, but this time it is different.
Because we're not in control. It's not a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. It's a manipulator's market.
You don't hear those terms being tossed around much anymore, do you? You just hear the prices are going up.
Yeah.
There's that term is
it's a manipulator's market.
Come out of favor. Yeah. Great point.
You guys, we got to wrap it up here, but tonight is the AMA for my Crypto Confidential community group. So I'll be on there live chatting on the Zoom call. If you guys haven't already joined us, there's a link in the description for you to check that out. But they've got attorneys and financial advisors and crypto experts in the group. You can go to my website, litecoinlisa.net, and watch a short video to learn more about that. And also find the link to join in the description below. You can find links for Sean's videos and his YouTube channel on below in the description, as well as going to, and I'm not screen sharing like I thought I was.
Like the leader says, you can't confiscate gold. They did.
They did, but they didn't. They did on the slide. They made everybody believe, much like with the pokey stuff, that you had to. But so most people just did. So they got the vast majority back in their possession through the same way.
Raised the price. That was brilliant.
Yep, it is. So one thing's for very certain, Sean, as you touched on.
Looking back on history.
Yeah, one thing, as you touched on, they are brilliant. They are crafty. They are sneaky, and they're very, very good at what they do.
Give us all your gold. We need to have all the gold. Okay. Now it's worth 3 times as much.
It was criminal, wasn't it, to not turn it in?
Yeah, it was. But you could have like
some jewelry,
else, but yeah, and that's a thing, dude. They literally made it a law.
It's lasted until the 70s.
That's the worst thing.
A lot of people don't realize that.
It did.
It's lasted until the 70s.
They did that. Took us off the gold standard. Gold went from like $30 an ounce to like $800 an ounce.
Yeah.
So literally all of the, they took in tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars worth of gold, and they turned it into billions and trillions overnight. That's like the biggest scam ever. There's so many things that have happened throughout history that it's like, if you were just a person, I would not be your friend anymore. I would never believe you anymore. I would have broke up with you now. But government just does this, and we're like, all right, well, this time it's probably going to be different. Nobody went to jail or had to, get in trouble. So this time it'll be different.
Yeah, I don't know. It is different this time, but I don't know that it's in the best way for us. But we are educating everybody the best we can. My doctor was telling me that there was also a patient that came in. I don't know if he saw me in the waiting room or what, but he was telling her, he was like, well, Litecoin Lisa, and you watch her show and stuff. So then she asked me about accepting crypto at the doctor's office today. So winning. Sometimes we're waking people up a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Or
planting them
the ones that are willing to listen, we're trying to help as many as possible.
Definitely true.
Tonight's family night, so I gotta start cooking.
I gotta head out myself. All right,
coming over for family night some night. I want to go down the street and go shooting with you. I want to do this. I'm not kidding.
We're doing a meetup in Austin later this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there
Well,
for sure.
Consensus is in Austin too, in June.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking about doing it.
Me and Rice were just talking about that today.
Oh, cool. That'll be fun. All right. Well, maybe we'll do it around then. That's like late.
May the force be with you.
Okay. May the force be with you. May the fourth be with you all.
And I'm sitting in the Millennium Falcon the whole time here. I'm just saying. None of you noticed.
I've noticed. I thought that was really cool.
But you didn't say. But thank you, sir.
Okay. Now we know. All right, you guys have a great day.
Love you guys. You too.
Love you both. Yeah. Take care.